What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Unfazed podcast. My name is Emmett.
My name's Ben.
And we're back.
Yeah, this is a fun little podcast. We're chilling and, just had some taquitos.
We just had a lot of taquitos for breakfast.
Quite tasty. Yeah, this is the earliest we've done a pod, and I would say a good, what would you say, year, probably?
Yeah, easy.
Usually we do nighttime podcasts, usually around, 7 to, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. It's nice.
Yeah.
I feel invigorated.
It does feel, the energy is up. It's the earliest I've eaten taquitos in probably
Quite a while. Probably about 3 days for me. Yeah, the earliest.
Oh, man.
Good stuff. Well, I hope the Unfazed crew is doing well. I hope everyone's doing good. What's new in the world?
Nothing much. Nothing good.
Yeah. Gas prices through the roof. Yeah.
That's right. Just because we were just talking about this, let's start with this. We were just talking about some of our shitty experiences with the, foot in the door film industry, local film industry.
Yeah.
And did you want to just say what you were telling me earlier?
Yeah. So
great story, classic story.
I've got a lot of them. Yeah. Some good experiences, some cool people, and then also just a lot of just douchebags. But overall, I would say positive experience. But when I was 15 going on 16, I worked on my first set, and it was actually a set, not quotes. It was a real set. And I got in through a family friend, one of my mom's really good friend's sons, David Levine, great guy, still keep in touch with him, cool guy. He was like, hey, I'm a cinematographer on a project. It was a web series at the time called Mr. E Comics. I'll see if I can find a link to it and link it below.
Mr. Enigma.
Edward Enigma, yeah. It turned out really shitty. It was a shitty project, but he was like, hey, we need a production assistant on it. Do you want to help out? Because he knew I was into that, interested in film and all that from a young age. And I worked as a production assistant on that set. And good experience, cool, but every experience was free labor, which sucks. So nowadays, I'm coughing up taquitos. Anyone who's trying to get into film now, I would say don't take the route of volunteering on people's sets and being a production assistant, because it's a waste of time. Honestly, make your own stuff, get on board with doing YouTube projects. If it's a paid gig, 100% go for it. But the free labor on college sets and on indie sets is just a waste of your time, honestly.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But I did that, for quite a while. And 15, 16 set. Literally I was in high school still when I started. And some of them were good experiences and some of them were a waste of time. And I worked on quite a few that were decent, and usually each one you'd work on would lead to the next one. So Mr. E Comics led to one called Brief Encounters. Sounds like a porno. It wasn't. It was just a short film. And I started meeting a lot of SCC people, Scottsdale Community College, before I even went there, just when I was still in high school. And a lot of those people were real chill, worked on a few cool projects that went absolutely nowhere. And then after a certain point, there were ones that just I was just what am I doing? There were some towards the end, I was telling Emmett, I worked on one when I was probably 18, 19, and it was for some douche. I wish I could remember his name. He was such a piece of shit. But it was one of those where I was working free labor as a production assistant, and I remember we were taking lights and equipment in and out of his mom's house where we were filming some shitty, low-budget project. And I remember he walked up to me, he's like, you want to tell me what happened with the screen door? And I was like, what? And keep in mind, I was 18, and this guy was in his 30s. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the screen door broken off the hinges, man. He's like, I'd like you to tell me the truth. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm like, I didn't break your mom's screen door.
Yeah.
And then he's like, look, man, someone's going to have to pay for this. He's like, I'd prefer you be honest. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I would tell you if I broke it.
Yeah.
I didn't break it. And then he's like, we'll finish this later. And then he went. And then he came back 2 hours later. And keep in mind, I was young. I was sweating and shitting myself.
Yeah, right.
Which I shouldn't have been, because I was volunteering on this stupid project. And then the guy was like, well, I talked to my mom, it's fine, don't worry about it. And I was like, what a fucking asshole. And it was one of those people that obviously never went anywhere. His project sucked. And I wish I could remember his name. I'd give him shit, but I don't recall. But there were a lot like that, and there were a lot of pricks at Scottsdale Community College, because there's Scottsdale Community College, and then there's the film school at Scottsdale Community College. We did that. We did some film classes, and it was when I was in screenwriting. I worked with this guy named Tyler, and he was actually fine in class. He was pretty cool, I thought. We'd joke around and stuff, and he was always very complimentary of my scripts and stuff. But I worked on a project that he was directing, and it was the dumbest fucking project in the world. It was called the Equestrian Duck.
What the?
And it was like this black kid that we went to school with, can't remember his name, dressed up in a duck costume. And it was like the dumbest, stupid, just...
I hate, like...
The most idiotic thing in the world.
Film guy humor.
It was so dumb. And I remember working on the set, just as like a classmate, you know, helping out. Because we were all like helping on each other's projects. And it was like one where you had to come in on a Saturday. It was like a total waste of time for a shit project. And at this time I was probably like... when I started going to SEC, like 19, 20. I might have been like 20. And I was working on this project, and I remember some people came in and asked a question. We were like filming in a hallway, and they were like, "Where's the main office?" And I was like, "That way." And then he came up to me dead serious, this Tyler guy that was directing the piece of shit project. And he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "people come to ask questions on a closed set." He's like, "They come and talk to me." And I was like, I was like, and then he's like, "I'm not kidding." And I was like, what the fuck? And this was one of the first times where I like realized that it was all bullshit. I literally was like, "Okay, man," and I literally was like waited till he went back to filming, and I just left.
Good.
Yeah, I was just like,
fuck, I didn't know that one.
I was like, that's so stupid. And I literally left. And I remember the next day, like, he was like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Oh, I had something else going on, man." Like, I should have confronted him, like, "Hey, I didn't like the way you talked to me."
Yeah.
But it's like when you're younger, I feel like
you just ghost him,
you don't have enough experience doing that. But yeah, there were a lot that I worked on. There were some that were good. Like, I worked on one in California. God, what was it called? It Happened Again Last Night. Again, sounds like a porno. Swear it wasn't.
Brief encounters that happened again last night.
Yeah, it happened again last night. He came in through the back door. But yeah, that would probably be more fun to work on an adult film, honestly. But no, it's just a shitty short film. But that one was cool because it was through one of my old screenwriting teachers. It was actually in LA. Worked again, wasn't paid. A classic. That's a trademark of shitty indie projects, that they don't pay you.
Yep.
And yeah, so don't do them, guys. But I worked on that one, and that one was kind of cool because I was like, "Oh, I'm working on a film set in LA." I met Chris Mulkey, who was like, he was in the first season of Boardwalk Empire, and he was also one of the sheriff deputies in First Blood. And I was like, "I've seen you in things." That's cool.
Yeah.
And he was actually really nice. Nothing bad to say about him. But the project itself, I'm like, these are going nowhere. And at that point, that might have been the last one I worked on that was someone else's when I was like 23. And that was the last one in California where I was like, you know what? This is dumb. I'm just going to focus on my own stuff.
Good for you.
Yeah, and then I think from that point, we'd already written a couple scripts. And we were like, you know what, man? Even if it's YouTube and it's a small audience, I'd rather cultivate that audience over time than work on someone else's shit.
Yeah.
You know, but I had a lot of experiences like that. There's some were good, but most of them were just a waste of time, honestly. You know?
Yeah, that's you. I think you approached it from the right direction. I did all the things you're like not supposed to do. Like when I started working at Harkins, like, what did I think was going to happen? But I found out a lot of kids were like they loved movies and they wanted to get into the movies. So it's like, oh, I'll work at Harkins.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg comes in. I like you.
Right, exactly.
That's like Steven Spielberg impression.
Yeah.
I like you.
But yeah, there's so many people in the sort of like local indie, free labor film industry
it's bullshit.
They just want to be like the angry director, and that's the opposite of what you want.
Yeah.
You know, obviously on a set you want everyone to get along and you want to have a good time.
Exactly.
But all these guys almost want like you bow to me,
it's so
and
weird.
It's so awful.
I think too many of them, and don't get me wrong, I think The Shining is one of the best movies ever. I really appreciate Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
But I feel like too many people jerk off to that, thinking, "Oh, I need to be this obsessive, borderline." Socially unaware freak tyrant director.
Exactly, yeah.
And they think that being a director means you have to be an asshole, and that's not the case. You hear stories of Ron Howard, who's like a fantastic director, being like so chill.
Yeah.
Mike Judge on set, he's like working with the actors, taking actors' suggestions. Yeah. Like, you want to be like that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I know, it's awful.
Yeah, but yeah.
And there were a couple times I didn't go about it through like the crew aspect, but I tried to like get into acting and stuff mainly.
Yeah.
In high school and in hindsight, this was totally like an elaborate scam or something. But I fell for one scam. There was a website called like Star Talent or something like that.
Classic.
And
Star Maker.
Yeah. You had like a profile and you had to pay a monthly subscription.
Yeah, I think I did one of those too.
Yeah. And I was posting a lot of stuff on there. Like I was posting me like singing and playing piano and stuff, and then a couple of nudes, a couple acting videos. And I was getting nothing, and finally I canceled the account. But immediately, like they called me, and they're like, "Hey, you Disney saw one of your videos, and they want you to be in it." And the way, obviously, this I sound like an idiot falling for it, but I was young. I was like 16 or 17, and they made it sound, legit. And at this time, I wasn't like aware of.
Did you have headshots?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have like professional headshots, but I just had like selfies and shit.
Yeah.
And so I fell for it. I was like, oh, cool. And then like, of course, they were like, oh, you just gotta renew your account.
Classic.
And I did it. And I was so sad because I like told my girlfriend at the time. I was all excited about it. She's like, "Oh,
I'm going to LA, maybe."
Yeah, right. And then after that, when there was silence again, then I was like, "Oh God,
bullshit." Yeah.
And then the biggest one was this one was really sad, and I feel bad because I had my dad take me to this and like just like dragged him into it. But I forget what it was called, but it was just some douchebag and some of his little minions. They got this like conference room rented out, and they had a bunch of local people who wanted to be actors come in. It was almost like a seminar, but it was like a scam trying to get you to pay money again. But it was in person, which made it even weirder. And there were a lot of like, well, maybe what made it so like so sad is that there were all these sort of like underprivileged like Mexican families there with their like kids trying to get into this, and a lot of them were falling for it. And the dude was such an asshole. I remember the one thing he said that made me... I wasn't even thinking whether it was a scam or not. I was just thinking, like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
He said, like, if you're going to be an actor, you have to be, like, an extrovert. You have to be outgoing. And I was like, that's just not true.
Yeah.
Most actors are, like, weird.
Look at Joaquin.
Yeah. I was like, and after he said that, I was like, that's... First of all, it's a...
look at Joaquin Phoenix in most interviews.
Yeah.
You're telling me Joaquin's not a legit actor?
And thankfully my dad, too, was like, yeah, you don't want to do this.
Bullshit,
And it's just, like, this depressive stuff. I remember just the whole vibe in that room was so, like...
I'm really glad. I mean, there's so much of me that, like, prefers things in the past, and I think things were better in a lot of ways. But that being said, I really like the direction of things now, with people being like, okay, let's do more independent stuff that's like the real deal. You know what I mean? I love the advent of YouTube and YouTubers and everything like that, because the way it was going for a while there was real shit.
Yeah.
Like trying to rely on other people to make things happen, entirely, and placing you into creative projects that, you don't really have a say in how they go. Like,
right.
It works for some people, I guess, and I mean, obviously, but like, for us, I was like, this isn't working, man.
Yeah.
Like, I tried it for a bit. I did act in a few projects, and I was a set PA, on a dozen more projects.
You really hit it hard. It sounds like you hit it hard. I mean, too. I mean, especially when we met each other. We went to like Great American Pitch Fest and all that stuff.
Yes.
We were nailing it.
We really did, and a lot of those, it's like, I'm glad we went, because looking at them, like, I don't think anyone's getting famous off those.
No.
I mean, it's like, let's talk about festivals for a second. Yeah. Let's talk about festivals. So I'd love to hear your experience, because everyone I've been to has been with Emmett.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So.
Austin, we didn't really... That was the point where we were kind of like, we were realizing it was bullshit, and we were like, let's just have a good time.
Let's have fun.
And it was like right at that moment, because we had, booked it, and we'd gotten the things and everything.
Yeah.
And we were like ready to film it up and try to get connections.
We realized it was like, for a lot of people, like, it's not legit.
Yeah. And when we got there was that whole club strip, and we were like, let's just do this.
Let's party.
Which was the right decision. I'm still so glad we did that. But
me too.
at Great American Pitch Fest, we really tried.
Yeah.
And
it's all like low-level producers.
It was,
that were like basically like critiquing you on your script as opposed to trying to be a connection for you.
Yeah. And I remember I got either one or two, really one taker that liked my script a lot, the monitors one.
Yeah.
But even so, like, I could tell they were really like low level.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when I got back home, they wanted me to like email them the whole script and everything, and I had their card. I was sitting there and I was like, oh, they're gonna fuck it up.
Yeah.
So I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only person we ever had that was like a producer in terms of someone who wanted to like throw money at us was the guy from American Splunk.
Yeah.
And he was actually super nice, and he like believed in our stuff, And he ended up having like someone in his family died, and he was like, "Hey, I got to focus on this and pull out."
And some of his previous stuff was really bad. Like I showed you, I had written music for some of this stuff, and it was like, oh,
and it was pretty bad. So it was one of those where I'm kind of like, you know what, that's okay. Like I'd rather take the route of like, even if it takes another 10 years, I'd rather be like, okay, let's put something out on our own that's like, funded through Patreon or crowdfunded or whatever. And is our own thing, as opposed to like being overly reliant on these people who have like no artistic direction.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But yeah, Austin was sick in terms of like a fun trip. But when we went, it's like we paid a lot of money for these badges, and we were like, okay, we want to see the writers from what was it, Better Call Saul, or at that time it was probably Breaking Bad, like the writers from Breaking Bad, and then they canceled. Like, okay, cool. We want to go see the Nickelodeon, making scripts for animation.
Yeah.
Canceled, and we're like, okay, cool. The two main things we want to see are canceled.
Right.
And then the last kind of straw that broke the Unfazed camel's back, we went to actually pitch to people at the Austin Film Festival, and it was like in this old church.
I forgot about
It was
that.
in this old church adjacent to the
It was so shitty. I completely blocked that. On
the Driscoll Hotel in downtown Austin.
I didn't remember that shit.
Where the core of it was at. And I went to pitch to the guy who wrote Kindergarten Cop, and you did too, and then a dude who used to be a writer for Leno on this night show. And these two guys, that was like their claim to fame. The dude who did Kindergarten Cop and the dude who wrote for Leno.
Yeah.
And we were there, and we had our scripts, and we both did our pitches, respective. And we thought, okay, cool, this is an opportunity to pitch to someone, and if they're interested, we get connected with them, and then we can know a producer who can help make this script come to life. That was like the end game, right? No, not the case. After we pitched, literally they were like giving us notes on how to pitch more effectively.
Yeah.
And they were doing that to everybody. Like I talked to other people too. And then when I knew it was real bullshit, I left and I saw one of my old SCC teachers there. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to be a judge. And I was like, oh, you're judging scripts? And I'm like, you're not a legit producer. Like, You're a college professor.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got too.
Yeah.
And that whole thing was weird because it expressed itself as being you're really pitching your scripts.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you that they were judging your pitch.
Yeah.
They weren't even there to decide whether or not they wanted the project. They were just there to judge the fucking way you said.
So basically, it's like, I'm sure some people got ahead. I'm sure some people have made short films that have gotten into the Austin Film Festival and won awards. I think it's legit in that respect. But as far as going a cold open and going in and pitching to people and stuff, I think 1 out of 1,000,000 are going to hit.
Yeah. And you're right. There were a bunch of people who weren't really in the industry, but they're in it via a university or something.
Exactly.
And they were all judges, and they were all just spewing. Mm-hmm. It's the people who aren't really at the top, but pretend that they are, that are the douchebags like that. Yeah, I remember a lot of people like that.
You'd be way better off just going to Austin adjacent to the film festival like we did, and going and partying at a cool hotel and cool bar, and then talking to someone casually and being like, here's my card.
Yeah.
And you'd have a way better shot of doing that than pitching to some fucking prick.
Yeah. Were you there when there was that old woman being for some reason this was the only thing I remember when they were just telling you their bullshit. There's this old woman who was like, there's no such thing as a dramedy. It's either a comedy or a drama. There's no dramedy. Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
Google popular dramedies. You're gonna get stuff online.
Yeah.
Dramedies.
First of all, how is it relevant to anything?
It was these people that have these hard set rules that are it has to be this, has to be that. They're the people that are nothing's gonna happen.
I know. That's so sad. Yeah, but
it was bullshit.
Yeah. So you're right. I think the fact that people can just go their own route and just post shit and people will see it, that's so much better.
So much better. Yeah.
Having to be please, Mr. Old washed up piece of shit.
Please, Mr. Weinstein.
Yeah. Please, exactly.
That goes well.
God damn.
But it's just one of those. Am I glad we went though? 100%. Honestly, we ended up having really fun times partying. We met really hot chicks. We had really good food.
Those Brazilian ladies dancing in our hotel room.
That was awesome. Honestly, some of the hottest girls in the world were just drawn to us.
Yeah.
Not lying.
And we talked about how we felt it was because of the badges and shit. We looked official.
We did look official.
And even though we didn't we had the badges for the thing that we copped out on.
That was fun.
Yeah, and all these people were you're right. There is this sort of magical air when you're out of town. You just don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit.
It's like you're a character in a new video game.
Everything's temporary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you're not going to be there in 2 days.
Yeah.
And we were there around Halloween, which was sick. Yeah, we spent Halloween in Austin.
That was fun.
That was fun.
You were getting into me. We've said it before, but it was just so cool. He was I was gonna be 21 in 4 days or something, and he was getting me into all these clubs because he was saying I was the writer of Three Guys.
Yeah.
Which was just our script. No one gave a shit about. But the way he said it, he owned it, and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I talked to the bouncers, and some of them I was able to talk to, and other ones I'd slip them a 20.
Yeah.
And we get in. Yeah, so we had fun. I got underage Emmett drunk.
It was great.
Yeah, it was a good time. But the Austin Film Festival, I mean, if you're into film, maybe go as a spectator, but don't anticipate selling your script and making all these amazing connections. I'm sure there's a couple people out there who've done it, but from our experience, a lot of it was just fluff.
Yeah.
But
the other thing is working with any of these guys, I'm sure they're gonna pick apart your shit to the point that it's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
The beauty of just doing it yourself, it's tough. Doing Polybius there's a lot of moving parts, but Oblivion in Real Life, a lot of moving parts. Even the thing we did in here, the Lefebvre Zinc.
It took a long time.
Yeah. Like, it's tough, but it's exactly what you want, and I couldn't imagine it any other way. I would hate having some prick being like, "We're gonna take this out, change this." I was like, no.
That's why you get so many shitty projects. One of the few like kind of cool things that they had at SCC was the guy who wrote the more recent shitty Jason Momoa Conan the Barbarian movie. And he talked to us, and he was saying like, dude, he's like, the studio destroyed my script. Like, he came and talked to us, and he said they like, there was like a point where they wanted, I forget what it was like a giant like tarantula or something in the script, or something like that.
Why? What are these assholes?
And they like already had it like built, and he's like, well, I guess we got to write that in. And then he like had to like write some monster. I don't remember.
That's so funny.
I saw the movie like 10 years ago, but basically he said it was like he wasn't even proud of it. He said for him it like was a script that he liked that got butchered. He said at the end of the day it was just a payday. Yeah. He said like he made good money. He got to take a trip to like Greenland, and he said that was sick. Yeah. And then like that was it. He said it was like a month of like living the Hollywood life and making some cash, and then he was like, okay, on to the next. He's like, they butchered that script.
Fuck.
And he was very like kind of jaded. Even when we met the Great American Pitch Fest, we met Shane Black. Seemed cool enough, you know, but he seemed a little kind of jaded too.
Yeah.
Like when we talked to him, like I remember I walked up to him, I was like, hey man, like I love Lethal Weapon, like you were great in Predator, like I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
He was very humble, grateful, but he wasn't excited about anything at all.
No, and I was like, and his big thing at that time would have been Iron Man 3, because he directed Iron Man 3. And I was like, dude, like I was just so excited to meet him. I was like, dude, I want to be just like you. And he was like, don't say that. And he was literally, he was like, no, you don't, man. He was like, and he was almost like down on himself for a second. And I was like, well, I just really like your stuff. And he's like, well, thank you. And it was like, he seemed like, for being such a successful writer and director, he seemed really over it.
Yeah. Goddamn. Yeah. And that happens in all these entertainment industries in general, I think. Going back to that fairly sociable video I was talking about before about the musicians. There was a guy in the 50s, I think, named Bobby Keane or something. He was the singer-songwriter guy from the 50s, and his producer was Bobby something else. They're both named Bobby. It was Bob and Bobby. It was producer Bob.
The two Bobbies.
Like this kid, Bobby Keane, was like doing really good, and then his next album, or the last album he released before he died, I guess the producer fucked with a lot. He was like, no, we gotta do this, we gotta do that.
Was he like a 27 Clubber?
He was a 27 Clubber, yeah. So the producer like fucked with his new album. It bombed because the producer had his fucking paw prints all over it. Damn. And then once it bombed, that's when he got a target on his head, because that's when he was worth more dead than alive. Damn. And then they killed him. And that one's like, if you look at that instance, like it 100% killed him. It's a sketchy thing where he was found dead in his car, and he had like opened like some gas thing. They said it was like inhalation, like toxic inhalation or something like that. But he also had all these, his family and his friends all said when they found him that he had all these cuts and bruises and shit all over him. But the coroner like said he didn't. It was like, no, he didn't have any of that on. It was like, it was total bullshit. And like all these other things were like, it was 100% he was killed. Yeah. And the entertainment industry.
It makes me wonder about all those guys, because I think like, man, the day the music died, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, Big Bopper, Otis Redding, plane crash when he was 26.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, if we could have gotten more of Buddy Holly, more of Otis Redding, more of Jim Croce, any of those guys, like, fuck. Yeah. It's so like heartbreaking. Jim Morrison, like, dude.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Super frustrating.
But in a way, I mean, obviously, they're all great musicians. But it's true that their death does have an effect on their level of stardom.
For sure.
There was that I think I mentioned it before. Even with Michael Jackson, you know, when he was huge when he was alive, right? He was huge. He was huge forever. But they had this. They showed this chart of his popularity, or like how much his worth, his overall worth, and when he died, it like shot up.
Oh yeah,
and so
his record sales,
yeah. So you know, all those guys are great, but there's such a stranglehold on who decides who gets famous that we might not remember or have known these guys if they lived.
Totally.
So I'm not saying it's okay. It fucking blows. It sucks, the whole thing sucks. Yeah.
I mean, you look at any of those guys. You look at Freddie. I mean, I know Freddie Mercury had AIDS, but you know, what I mean, just as an example, after he died, Queen so popular. Not saying that they weren't before, but they're definitely still the highest-grossing like acts ever.
You have to be this martyr.
Yeah, you have to be a martyr. It's so strange. Nirvana, Hendrix. I mean, any of those guys. It's like, damn.
That's why it's better to go on your own, guys.
Go on your own. I guess that's the moral of the story.
Yeah,
It's like, do I regret doing that stuff? Some of them, but for the most part, like, it was a good experience, and it was like it took a lot of bullshit of going like, okay, you know what, like, I don't want to work on other people's crappy projects. I don't want to go to these film festivals and pay, you know, like $1,000 to go pitch something that someone's just going to critique and then you're never going to hear from them again.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I'd rather funnel that money, you know, into like making stuff and making short films and making projects and even just talking shit like this.
Yeah.
Like, literally, this has a bigger reach than it would if we did something with one of those people at Austin Film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't want to be best boy grip number 2.
Fuck that. Fuck that, yeah. And also I found doing that, it's like there's really no opportunity for advancement. You know, it's like maybe in some cases, you know, you get that one-off rare Harrison Ford as a carpenter where he becomes, you know, a Han Solo. It's like, okay, but you're also talking about fucking Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was a lot more to it. And there's magical lottery ticket situations like that that work out perfectly, and you wouldn't want it any other way. But then there's other stuff where someone tries to be, you know, a production assistant on something and nothing happens.
Yeah.
I was talking to this guy Zach that I know, super cool guy, who I used to work with, and I worked on a couple videos with him, and same kind of thing. He was one of those that was like really talented. He was into cinematography and very skilled, and he seemed to be very over it. He'd worked a lot in the industry. He was a person that had worked on like porn and stuff in the past, like just editing.
Yeah.
And he said it was just like soul sucking. And then he worked on like legit projects as like, you know, as a cinematographer and as like assistant director and stuff like that. And nothing came of it. He said like he said he worked really hard living in California for like 3 or 4 years, and like nothing to show for it.
So sad.
And he was like, and he said there was like no opportunity for advancement.
Yeah.
So some people can make it work, and I give them a big thumbs up. Like, that's great. But there's other people who like there's no ladder up to the next level.
Yeah, it's a really bloated market, and there's like a couple guys that have a monopoly on all of it. So it's like what are you gonna do?
Carve your own path, guys. And I think the same goes for music.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's and it is. I've been playing like a lot of shows with my buddy Winston lately, and we can feel that we're getting asked to play places sometimes, and that feels really good.
Yeah.
And it the results are extremely gradual. You got to work your ass off, and then like you slowly start to feel that it's paying off.
It's good,
but it's
also frustrating.
Yeah, it's frustrating. You got to work really, really hard, and you feel like your work doesn't necessarily equal the results. But that's kind of the way it is, you know.
Yeah, unless you're manufactured, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what's weird is I was listening to NPR, my own source for news, the other day, and there's a new Miss Marvel series. She's the stretchy, like Eastern Indian lady or whatever, and
sounds crappy.
Yeah, it bombed. The whole series bombed. But this is I'm so like torn on saying this, but it's the truth because of how much I hate Disney. But Disney is the one place where they will hire like these totally unknown people. The person who played Kamala Khan, I mean, I'm sure they made a bad decision, and it's partially her fault for why it bombed, and I feel bad because she was like 16 or 17.
Yeah.
But this woman had no acting experience, and she didn't even want to be an actor, but she just liked the character so much. She was like a big fan of Kamala Khan. Miss Marvel had all the comics, and then she just sent in some, tape, kind of like we did years ago, Star Wars, and then they just picked her.
That's cool.
So that's kind of
I'll
cool.
give them props for that.
Yeah.
I'll give them props for that.
And then it fucking bombed, so whatever. But it is cool. It is nice that they pick these unknown guys.
I wish they would do that more, and I do miss that classic Hollywood, 70s Hollywood of like giving the young director a chance, giving unknowns a chance. Look at Star Wars, dude.
Yeah, Spielberg and George, like they were the
literally everyone in Star Wars besides Alec Guinness was an unknown.
Yeah, right.
Like Harrison Ford, he had a bit part in American Graffiti.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill had done nothing. Let's see, Carrie Fisher, maybe one thing before.
Yeah.
But virtually unknown. And then, literally the only person in there who was like well known was Alec Guinness, and he was like a well respected actor.
It's true.
But anyway, let's get back to that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
Anyway, guys, quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with more banter.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
Here they come screaming across the sky. It's lots and lots of jets and planes. The greatest collection of aviation DVDs we've ever offered. And through this special TV offer, you can get 2 DVDs for the price of 1. You'll get to see big planes, little planes, soaring stunt and passenger planes, even planes that fly real low, old planes, new planes, fast planes, slow planes, smoking planes, even planes at supersonic speeds, plus much, much more when you order lots and lots of jets and planes. Each DVD is jam-packed with lots of high-flying, close-up action. This special TV offer is not available in stores. Remember, you can get 2 DVDs, over 2 hours of non-stop aviation action for the price of 1. It's lots and lots of jets and planes.
You can order now and receive a free bonus CD of jet plane songs. You must be 18 years or older to call 888-300-3455. Parents, call 888-300-3455. Satisfaction guaranteed. That's 888-300-3455 for lots of jets and planes.
Welcome back. So, R.I.P. James Caan.
Oh yeah, I just saw that. It's so funny. I get my second source for news. I'm sure I was number 1. My second source for news is the Unfazed Instagram. You post all this stuff like as soon as it happens, and I don't see it anywhere else.
I'm on top of it.
Yeah.
I'm plugged in, Jerry.
You are plugged in. And yeah, that's sad. He was up there, 81, right?
Quite the career. 82.
82. Wow.
Yeah. Big Trump supporter.
Really?
Yeah, fun fact.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be. Yeah,
but
cool.
he's like best friends with John Voight, so that makes sense.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's cool.
But what a career, dude. The Godfather. Come on, he was Sonny, right? Sonny.
Yeah. Weird, very broad career too.
He was an Elf.
And The Godfather. You can't get much more polar opposites.
You know what was interesting about him is he was one of those actors. He did a movie called Thief in 1981, directed by Michael Mann, who also did Collateral and Public Enemy. Amazing director. Really good movie. And then after 1982, he took 7 years off. He just didn't act in anything from
Cool.
It was 81 to 88 or something like that, or somewhere like that. It was a good chunk of time. He just didn't make much in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's great. Bill Murray did that too after Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
He took 4 years off.
Yeah, he just chilled.
Something like that. That's crazy.
That's good.
But really great. One of my favorites by James Caan was a movie called Misery with Kathy Bates.
You know what? I've never seen it.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Stephen King. Basically, I'll give you just what you get from the trailer. James Caan is this author, pretty famous, like a Stephen King type, but the character does more romantic novels. He's going on this icy road and he gets in a really bad car accident that fucks up his legs. He's left for dead basically. And Kathy Bates is this lady that lives in the woods, and she pulls him out and saves him. And you find out that she's his #1 fan. She's this obsessive fan, and she nurses him back to health. And you find out that she's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
She's totally crazy and abusive, and she forces him to write another book while he's held captive. I don't want to tell you too much, but it's a masterpiece. And
cool.
Misery, I would say, is probably my favorite project by him. Thief is also really good, and of course, his other stuff that he did, Godfather, Elf, and then he did a whole bunch of just kind of low budget action stuff all through the early 2000s, and a lot of mafia stuff.
There's a lot of low budget action shit late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know why. All those big guys did that. Yeah, I'm
sure he was in something with Van Damme and Nick Cage at some point. But R.I.P. James Caan. He seemed like a really cool dude. I actually saw an interview of him. I think it was about 2 years ago, and I was like, wow, I didn't know James Caan was still around. And who knows what kind of ailments he might have had or anything like that, or just old age. Kind of one of those Gene Hackman. It's I think they just stop acting after a certain point. But I checked his IMDb and it looks like he still has a project coming out next year.
Oh shit!
There's a 2023
That's crazy,
project. So I'm like, that's cool. But yeah, all you can ask for as an actor like that is longevity, and he had quite the run.
Yeah.
He had stuff going back to the early 1960s, and he still has stuff that's going to come out posthumously.
So crazy. Yeah, that's incredible. What a career, damn.
He was one of those guys that was in the league of Gene Hackman, Burt Reynolds. He probably rubbed shoulders with Paul Newman and people like that. Cool era, definitely.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, just to be in The Godfather, you're already
amazing.
Yeah, legend.
Yeah. Look what they did to my boy.
Exactly.
Look what they did to my boy.
Makes me sad when it's gonna be sad when James Woods dies.
That'll be sad.
He's fucking hilarious.
He's wild. You ever see Videodrome with him? That's a wacky.
Check it out.
It's him and Debbie Harry from Blondie.
And I think his Twitter is funny. He's he's a really huge Trump supporter.
Is he?
Yeah, and very red pill.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah.
He's always in Family Guy.
Yeah.
I feel like I know about him because of Family Guy.
Me too. Yeah.
James Woods.
Yeah, he was Sharf or something. What was it? He had that big show where he was a lawyer or something.
Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know anything besides Videodrome.
Yeah. He's not nearly as big as.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Videodrome. Check it out.
I'll check out Videodrome.
You get to see
Okay.
Debbie Harry topless. It's funny. Interesting choice.
But do you get to see James Woods topless?
I think you do.
Okay, good. I'm all for that.
That's what I'm all about. Another actor I'd like to talk about is Christian Bale's really being thrust back into the spotlight because of Thor: Love and Thunder. He's going to be the bad guy. Have not seen it yet. As of the recording of this, it just came out today, Thor: Love and Thunder, so have not seen it yet. So can't say one way or another, but I'm sure we know how it'll go.
I heard some bullshit where he wanted to do this really terrifying scream, and they filmed it in one scene, and then the director thought it was too scary. It might just be some bullshit trying to get some people to see the movie. But why would you do that? Too scary.
And then he sent rats to his go.
Yeah, it sounds like bullshit. But it's on one hand, it's sad that to be in the spotlight, you have to be in a Marvel movie right now. Yeah. But I do remember, I heard somewhere that in one of his early interviews for this film, someone asked him how he felt being in the MCU now, and he didn't know what that was.
That's hilarious.
I love him, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if that's the truth. I mean, he's kids, he's got to know.
Yeah, maybe. But also, he is, those guys are just weird. And a lot of those guys don't watch movies on this.
Yeah, I heard it's kind of funny. You can kind of understand it. He said he has not seen the Batman yet. And I'm it's because he was Batman. It's probably one of those where he's like, I've already done it.
Yeah.
It's like, I could see
But that's true. People who are in the industry don't consume a lot of that, the same stuff. I listen to music, but I listen to a small, select portion. I don't really know what's going on. And I have a friend who's a vocalist, and I asked her what she listens to, just driving or whatever once, and she was like, I don't.
She's like, the sound of my engine.
Yeah, right. She just doesn't listen to music because she's always performing it and stuff. So yeah, it's
that's very interesting.
Think that's the same way for a lot of actors.
Do you listen to yourself a lot?
Sometimes I try not to.
That's cool.
But sometimes I do, yeah.
That's interesting. I was listening to Fly on the Wall podcast, Dana Carvey, David Spade. Highly recommend if you like this style of stuff, if you like comedy podcasts, and kind of a behind-the-scenes look at Hollywood stuff. But Dana Carvey is a huge Beatles freak, and he was talking about hanging out with Paul McCartney. He'd hung out with McCartney a few times, said he was a super nice guy, really cool, couldn't have been nicer, which was great to hear.
Yeah.
But he said he was over at McCartney's house back in the early 90s with he and Linda McCartney and their kids, and a Beatles song was playing in the background on the radio, and he caught Paul on the patio singing along to himself, and then he went along to up to him, and Paul was embarrassed.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was obla-dee obla-da, he said.
Yeah.
And then they started talking about the song. And it was just interesting, and he said it was really funny seeing Paul randomly hearing a Beatles song and fully singing along.
It's so funny.
That's hilarious. But can you imagine? I know, that level, that caliber.
That's and he has so much under his belt. I get it.
Yeah, and probably at that point when you have decades worth of stuff, and you've been in the Beatles, and you did Wings, and then all the solo stuff. It's some of it probably sounds fresh.
Yeah,
it's probably to a point where it's maybe he hadn't listened to something off of A Hard Day's Night in a long time, and then you hear something, and you're oh.
It is nice listening to something you haven't heard in years, because then you hear fresh ears.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. But it's nice. It must be nice to get to that point where you can look at it a little more objectively.
Yeah,
and actually take it in for what it is.
It's hard to hear it the way everyone else does.
Because you made it.
Yeah. So only until you've forgotten it can you kind of be oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
It's probably seeing a movie that you did. If you're an actor and you did 20 years ago, it's probably I heard Rob Lowe says whenever Tommy Boy comes on, he sits and watches the whole thing.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm that's hilarious.
Rob Lowe.
Yeah, Rob
He also
Lowe.
watches every episode of 911.
Yes, 911. And classic Parks and Rec, of course. I love Rob Lowe.
That is great.
Hard not to like Rob Lowe.
He seems like a chill guy.
Yeah, he's one of the healthiest dudes.
Yeah.
Doesn't drink anything, but he still imbibes in cigars.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
The way to look like Rob Lowe is smoke cigars, guys.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, Christian Bale. It's funny that everyone's so thirsty for content from him. They're turning him into a meme and really focusing on these little clips of him doing anything slightly funny or eccentric. Yeah, it's kind of becoming what they did with Keanu.
Yeah. It's. And I love both of them. I love them fine. Yeah, but I hope it doesn't get to that.
But it's funny how they're so obsessed, and also we haven't seen Christian Bale in anything in a couple of years.
Yeah,
at least I have. I think Hostiles was the last thing I saw him in.
The first half of Hostiles was really good.
Yeah,
and then it got kind of lame.
Was not enough Ben Foster.
Yeah,
I'm a big Ben Foster fan, and I'm dude, they were in 310 to Yuma together. We know they work well together. Yeah. why didn't we get more Ben Foster? Like,
but by the time I even got to Ben Foster, I was like checked out. It was
Same.
weird. I've never had a movie where like, usually I like it or I dislike it as a whole.
I fell asleep in the theater watching Hostels.
Yeah. The first half of it, I thought really good.
Yeah, really good.
The second half, like I got what they were going for. He has this he has this really intense character arc where he's like this racist colonel or something.
I don't remember a thing about it.
Yeah, he's like it's kind of a cool premise. You know, he's this really well respected 5-star lieutenant or colonel or some shit. And excuse me. And he hates like the Native Americans, right? Because they had to fight him. And he's tasked with being sort of the bodyguard. Him and this troop are going to be the bodyguard for this chief going to the res. Like the res is like a new thing. I think it's like a res, something like that.
Yeah.
But he has to get him safely to the reservation, and he kind of like wants to just kill him.
Interesting.
And at first he like really just is going to do it, and then
Could have been done better.
yeah, slowly as the movie goes on, he like understands him, and eventually he's like defending him and stuff, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, I get the idea. It's good.
Yeah.
But the best part was what was the blonde lady from Gone Girl? She was in that.
Oh, I don't know her name.
Rosamund Pike.
Yeah.
Rosamund Pike. She was in it, and her whole thing was the best.
Okay.
Her whole like you should see just the first half.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. Wasn't there like a rape?
Yeah, her whole family like gets killed in the beginning, and it's just like her like grieving through all that is the best part of it.
Yeah,
her acting
it was
incredible.
hardcore.
Yeah,
I do remember that being like really
Yeah.
unsettling.
That was another one. Yeah, what I was telling you the other day about Black Phone. That scene with the little girl.
I saw it.
Spanked. Yeah, you liked it.
I saw it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, it was
good.
good. Yeah, it was amazing. But that one scene for me was like really like, oh geez.
Yeah, the acting there from the kids was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
My praise that I'll give it is the acting was great, very suspenseful, a couple good jumps, very well paced, and spooky. It touched on that area that we don't want to think about.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to think about kids getting kidnapped. Like that's like
Right.
so fucking horrifying. And then, like literally seeing like the baseball kid, like on the back of the milk carton.
Yeah.
And like all these kids start disappearing. And what I thought was interesting, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, maybe fast forward like 1 minute. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I think because his sister and his mom were both psychic, I think he was psychic, and that's how he was able to talk to the dead kids on the phone.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
his blood. Yeah,
Yeah, because Ethan Hawke's character was like, the phone doesn't work. The phone doesn't work, and it was working the whole time for him.
Right,
So I
right.
think he was psychic.
yeah, interesting. I like
But really
that.
well done. My only qualm with the movies are like now, like nothing can take place in the present, and everything has to be like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And you always have to have a kid named Finn.
Yeah, yeah. Was he named Finn?
His name was named
He was
Finn.
I forgot about that.
And it's one of those where I'm like, does everything have to be late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah.
Like, it's an excuse just to throw on good music.
It
but
is.
I like it. I
I
appreciate
thought it
it.
was the best movie from Blumhouse or whatever. They're the guys who did like Insidious and then all that shit, right?
Those movies suck balls.
Yeah, all of them are terrible, but this one was actually like cool.
Annabelle Creation.
Annabelle Creation.
The nun- it's
It was
always just a nun or a woman in white or a girl
Yeah,
with long
yeah.
black hair going
Yeah.
and jump scares in closets. Like
Yeah, I could have gone either way about it, but just that one scene where he's like spanking her and she's like weeping. I was like, oh god, like it was hard. She was like really crying.
you know what I was expecting at the end?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. What I was expecting at the end was after everything's all said and done and they're sitting with the cops, I was expecting her to be like, he hits us.
Yeah,
But they didn't.
right.
I was
yeah.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and the dad
There's, like,
kind
forgiveness.
of. I think the fact that like he lost the kids for a little bit that made him change his tune because he was like apologizing.
He
to
like
them.
lost his son.
Yeah, right,
For like
yeah.
I'm guessing it was like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was like a while.
And it was like profusely apologizing at the end.
Yeah,
he
so there's
kinda
like
got
there's like
it.
forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a really good movie. I would watch it again.
Yeah,
I would
but
watch it again.
in recent memory, that scene where she's getting spanked, and then Rosamund Pike like burying her family. Those are the two scenes where I'm like,
Yeah.
I get like
Yeah.
secondhand, like,
Yeah.
oh god, you know.
Also, I would say
Yeah.
some scenes from Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah.
So heavy.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah,
that's
that's
one I
what
need to
I was
rewatch. That's one I actually did
So
go back and
underrated,
rewatch.
man.
I've seen it twice
Yeah.
now. I saw it once with you in theaters. We saw like this crazy, weird, magical pre-screening.
Yeah.
We just like walked
didn't know
into
what it was.
Didn't know what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Loved it. 10 out of 10 movie. Like a perfect movie.
Really good.
Love it. 5 out of 5. Great. And then I watched it again with my mom. My mom was like, "This is really dark,"
Yeah.
but she like still enjoyed it. But I really,
great,
really,
yeah.
I think Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the best, and I think Amy
Yeah.
Adams is one of the best.
He was one of the best.
Tom Ford's one movie.
Yep.
And his appearance in Zoolander.
Tom Ford, what a weird guy.
Yeah, amazing.
Great,
He's
yeah.
like a fashion designer that's like, I'm going to make an amazing movie.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
Nocturnal Animals, guys. Check it out. Hostels, maybe watch half of it. And then the
Watch the first half.
the Black Phone, I'd say go for it.
Black Phone, yeah.
Yeah, Black Phone, I'd give a 3.9 out of 5.
Agreed.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah. Maybe even a 4.
I like the. I think one of the things I also got to say that was good about it is they have that like karate character. Could have been really dumb, but I actually liked it.
It was cool.
I thought it was cool.
And also the fight scenes with the kids were super brutal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god. Like literally like kids are getting hit with rocks and shit.
And the 70s were really like that. They're like violent and dark for some reason. It was weird.
Yeah.
There's kind of two sides of the 70s. There was like the disco side of the 70s, and there's the everyone's killing each other side of the 70s.
And then there was the Midnight Express. You know about the Midnight Express?
No.
It was I think that's what it was called, Midnight Express. Wait. Am I fucking up? Whatever show it was, there was like a late night like rock and roll and disco show.
Oh yeah,
I think it was called Midnight
Express.
Express.
That's cool.
And it was they'd have like Aretha Franklin on and then like Aerosmith, and it was like a cool mixing of like soul, R&B, disco, and then like rock and roll.
Yeah,
and it was like really cool.
That's interesting.
I think it was Midnight Express. Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
That's awesome.
Where's my phone? But it was really. I wish they had more shows like that.
Yeah,
where it was like everyone could perform and it was like all genres.
Yeah, I missed that. Everything's so like in its own thing now.
Midnight Express was a really intense R-rated movie in 1978 that was really good about a guy that gets like locked up abroad.
Oh,
and it's like that's where the scene of like the girl putting her nipple on the glass got famous.
Oh,
great movie. Was it Midnight Express? Let's see. Midnight 70s.
Midnight in Paris Express.
Great.
Wilson takes a train to the.
I'm sorry. Midnight Express is a really badass R-rated movie. The Midnight Special.
Midnight Special
was a show that had like great bands on it. It was like a lot of soul and R&B and then like amazing rock artists.
That's awesome. That is really cool. Yeah.
Let's see, like Rod Stewart on there.
Taylor
like,
Swift.
So cool. Bowie. Taylor Swift. Yeah, Harry Styles and Pink Pants.
Oh, God.
It was great. But Midnight Special, but also check out Midnight Express.
Yeah.
What else did we want to talk about? I feel like there was something we were going to talk about.
Well, we had a couple things on the email. We had a couple.
You want to do the email? We can do the email.
Let's say email for last. Classic.
Oh, one thing I want to.
Okay, go ahead.
One thing. Shut down. Okay. George is getting upset. No, I'm teasing. One thing I want to talk about too was talk a little bit about what's been going on with YouTube lately, because not to blow the conspiracy theory horn, but like we have noticed for a while there, you know, our views are going pretty good, and then for the podcast, the views have really dropped. So if you guys are not getting notifications and you have the notification bell on, please comment and let us know if you're not seeing our stuff pop up.
Yeah, there's a weird. Our subscriber count is still going up.
Yeah, really subscribers are going up, views are going down.
Yeah.
And then you've noticed this with Little Faye Bros too.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about our channel first. Subscriber count going up, views going down, monetization disappeared.
Our money we're making off the videos disappeared. We're not making any money right now.
As soon as we cross 1,000 subs, you immediately get the
ad revenue.
You immediately get monetization.
And
it just went away in the last week or so.
This was going strong. They alerted us when it came on.
Yeah.
And we had it going for, what would you say, 3 months maybe?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool, making, not a lot, not a big revenue stream, but making sense.
Nice to just have it there.
A few dollars here and there off the channel, which is cool. And that just went away. So we got demonetized for some reason.
It just silently just went away.
It didn't give us a notification to fix it either. And then another thing is, like I said, our subscribers are going up, thank you, but our viewership's going down.
Yeah, weird.
So let us know if you guys are not getting notifications, because it's a little concerning.
So then with Little Faye Bros, I didn't want to talk about this until I had other people telling me, and at this point I have had a lot of people telling me that, they're subscribed, they have the notification bell on, whatever. They don't get any notifications for any of our videos. They don't see them when they're recommended anymore. Our views are going down. Also, though, our subscribers are plummeting.
Really?
We were like almost at 168K, and now we're at 165.
Wow.
And you can see there's a little strip that says like,
So 3,000 subscribers gone?
Yeah. And it's still going down because there's a little strip that says that you've gained or lost however many subscribers in the last month. Yeah. Ours is always positive, which is nice, but LaFave Bros is like minus 300 always.
Wow.
It's really scary. And our views are plummeting, and people are like, I'm just not getting recommended your shit anymore. And people are really like, people messaged me and be like, I think you got shadow banned.
Wow.
And one guy was like, I guess on LaFave Bros account, we had commented on some Sam Hyde video. And they got like a bunch of upvotes, and someone suggested it was because of that. But like, what the fuck? But then
they're very
yeah. But we also talk about, and you've made this point, which is a strong point, how like Ben Shapiro, the Rubin Report, and Jordan Peterson, all those guys are huge. So they can't just be that, because those guys are huge.
And also, like, we try to be centrists.
Yeah.
It's like, we're gonna point out bullshit and look and make Biden jokes and see things that are
like, just because we think Sam Hyde's funny and like comment on one thing,
and just seeing like how shitty things are with the country and commenting on it. I don't think that warrants getting shadow banned.
No, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And I actually, one of my buddies, Anthony, he shout out to Anthony if he's watching. he was saying that he's always been a very loyal watcher and a great friend, and he says he's got the bell notification on. He said he never sees our stuff recommended. He has to like search it out for Unfazed.
Yeah.
So let me know if this is a thing with you guys, because like the podcast, for instance, we were getting pretty darn good podcast views last year, and then after like the new year, it's like plummeted.
Yeah.
It's plummeted, and it's like a lot of people are saying, "Oh, these are great podcast episodes and everything," and it's just not getting distributed to people.
I haven't been having a good time with YouTube in general. My buddy Baldy, shout out to Baldy.
Love Baldy.
Has been pushing me to, and this is a good idea, to stream on YouTube, because I stream like games on Twitch and stuff sometimes. But he was like, why don't we stream through LaFavor's, get more views? The first one was fine. We got like I think 200 viewers at one point, which was really nice.
Yeah.
But then the second one we did. Now, bear in mind, I had like this $3,000 gamer PC that was given to me by the fans, essentially. So thank you guys so much. And then I have this like, almost $150 fiber optic Wi-Fi that's like right next to it. And I had like a tech guy come in and like make sure everything was copacetic and good to go and smooth. Streamed through YouTube, and I had my laptop open next to the PC so I could watch the stream. And for me, as well as a lot of other people, it was like super blocky and laggy and just horrible quality. And
that's coming with like really good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, like everything was great. And when I streamed through Twitch, everything's super smooth, fine. But on YouTube, it just like it looked like ass, and it was so frustrating because like everything is of such high quality.
Yeah,
I made sure everything was ready to go. No one else was using the Wi-Fi for anything, and it just looked like shit. Yeah. And it's really odd. And that was like embarrassing because I was streaming on LaFavor's to all these people and it just looked like ass.
That sucks.
Yeah, and it was so it's like kind of fuck it right now, It's
my thing is, and I've had this pitched to me a few times, and I think you and I have talked about it for sure. Obviously, we'll keep the YouTube stuff going, but we're thinking about also putting copies of our stuff on a second platform.
Yeah.
And if you guys have a platform that you go to and watch a lot, please comment below, because we're definitely considering it. It's like we'll still put stuff here, obviously, but I think it would be really good to have copies of everything elsewhere and maybe more exclusive content and different things for another platform. So let us know what you guys think about that, because I think it's almost inevitable.
Yeah, you do hear about alternate sites that try to pop up every now and then, but then they go away very quickly.
Yeah.
There's always like, on like the news or the local news, it'll be like, is this new site, gonna be the new YouTube? And then it's like, in 2 days, like, you don't ever hear a thing about it. Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, they've really got a lock on the market.
Yeah.
They're so huge. And don't get me wrong, I love YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube, but there are elements of it where I question it, where I'm like, well, what's going on here? It's like if our content is so, likable and like a lot of people seem to enjoy it, why would you prevent people from seeing it?
Yeah.
Or why would you not allow notifications to pop up on people who've hit the notification bell? It's not like we're some radical alt-right extremists.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like we're just making a fun podcast. We're speaking our mind. I think that's what scares people maybe. And we're very open. But it's like our channel. It's like we do ghost hunting. We do food reviews. We do vlogs. It's like, it's a fun channel. So if you think that we're some kind of big threat, I mean, you're fucking insane.
The algorithm is so weird. The video that was made, like some random, totally bizarre video that was made 7 years ago will suddenly get recommended to like everyone. Yeah, and just none of it makes sense.
And you'll see it, and they'll be like, "So the algorithm recommended this to you too?" And it's like a dog with a stick trying to get through a doorway.
Yeah. There was that. And there's always something like it gets recommended to everyone, like Baldy and you. We all see it at the same time. Yeah. It has nothing to do with what we want to see. It's just like, there you go.
And it's so weird too. Like who decides? Yeah. And it's like there is stuff I love on YouTube, and there's other stuff where I'm like, why are you being so like petty about these little things? They're like, Instagram. Let's talk about Instagram for a minute, because that shit is off the charts crazy. Yeah. So Instagram, I was looking at Frank Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's musician brother, on Instagram, and he's like verified blue check mark celebrity, and he posted this video of Joe Biden giving the Congressional Medal of Honor to someone, and he's like putting it around someone's neck, and he puts it on backwards, right? Yeah. Just a funny gaffe. Yeah, it's just one of those where like he's being silly. He's up to his antics, And underneath on Instagram, there's all this red lettering that's like, this needs to be fact checked. Disinformation, like this warning. What does it say? Like exactly.
I went up on I just searched it up because I knew we were going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it was, middle one or whatever. I just searched Biden backwards on YouTube.
Yeah.
First thing that comes up before any of the videos is independent fact check, checked by Newsweek one day ago. Fact check. Did Biden put a medal on backwards during the ceremony? Claim. Fact check. Did Biden put a medal on backwards during the ceremony? Rating. False. How is it false? Everyone's looking
There's
at it.
a video of it. What's so funny about that is anything like that, they're just like babysitting, and they have to hop in and be like, no. We gotta clean up. We gotta clean up the bullshit, and we gotta stop the spread of dangerous disinformation or misinformation. I'm like, what is going on, guys?
Jesus
this
Christ.
is just such a crock of shit.
The fact check stuff is bullshit. It's like it's the opposite of what it's supposed to be.
I know.
It's
they're so scared of anyone pointing out how flawed things are.
Yeah.
And anyone does even just make a joke. If that was Trump, they would be like, crucify him. He's an idiot. Fuck the orange man. And it's like they do this now, and it's like they're like, no. He couldn't possibly make a mistake. And constantly he's like falling down and tripping and bumbling and saying incoherent things.
Let me read the fact check article about it from Newsweek.
Please.
A common caricature of Joe Biden among his critics is what they see as his lack of mental fortitude.
You think?
Attributed by some to his age. The president, who has called himself a gaffe machine, has often misspoken in speeches, leaving White House staff to clean up afterward. This seeming absent-mindedness may yet damage his chances of re-election in 2024. Oh no. Should he decide to stand for another term? I don't think he can stand as it is.
No.
With even left-leaning pundits concerned of his capabilities.
Yes.
He looks really funny. He looks like a dog collar or something.
It's hilarious.
However, the clamor to make fun or point out these flaws can also lead to accidental or deliberate distortions of the truth, as Biden's opponents jump on the social media bandwagon.
Mm-hmm. The biggest threat to our freedom, misinformation.
A tweet sent on July 6th with the caption, Biden puts medal on backwards, shows a video clip of the president presenting what appears to be a military decoration. Mm-hmm. The video, which has more than 40,000 engagements, shows a short blue ribbon worn around the recipient's neck. It has also spread on other social media platforms, including Telegram, where it was quickly weaponized by the pro-Kremlin. Wow. You can't weaponize just a little joke. Jesus.
Wow.
Videos.
They love that lingo of saying, anything like this has any kind of humor to it is dangerous.
What happened to political cartoons? Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Videos of Joe Biden, blah, 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 have often been used. Yes, okay. In May 22, a clip of the president saying, don't jump to a White House. Okay, we're not talking about...
Get to the point.
In this most recent case, footage of the president has again been posted without appropriate context. The clip from Twitter was pulled from a longer video filmed on Tuesday, July 5th, at the White House, in which President Biden presented the Medal of Honor, the highest award for military valor in action, to 4 veterans of the Vietnam War. Mm-hmm. The medal is attached by a short blue ribbon that sits on the collar of the recipient, and according to the American Battlefield Trust, it is only the American military decoration. It is the only American military decoration to be worn this way. That's what they're saying, it's supposed to be worn that way. Until World War II, it was most often pinned to the breast of the recipient. The blue neck ribbon was adopted to distinguish it from other honors.
What's funny about the whole thing is that had he put it on incorrectly and backwards, we're all expecting that from him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. And what's so funny about it is saying, okay, let's say this wasn't correct, right?
Yeah.
Like, he fell off his bike like 2 weeks ago. He's always falling upstairs.
I know.
And like, there's so many clips of him just like speaking totally incoherently. Like, he's just like, the poor guy like is not there mentally. Like,
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's
he's not fit to be in the position that he's in. I think it's cruel of his family to put him through it.
And let me just talk about this fact check stuff in and of itself for a minute.
Yeah.
It's so demeaning and insulting. Like, people are looking at this stuff. They can make the decision for themselves.
Yeah.
They don't have to be told, no, this is not true. It's like if I like punched you in the face and then I got like some officials in suits to be like, Emmett did not punch you in the face, Ben.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It's like it's insane.
I believe you.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It's incredible.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's the same people who throw around condemning other figures of either sexual misconduct or accusing them of racism. It's the same kind of thing where like, this will shut it down.
Yeah.
This will keep it from proliferating. This will keep it from going any further.
It's very like threatening.
Yeah, it's like
this is the truth.
Yeah, and then it's like this whole fight against misinformation to protect our democracy is just the craziest thing in the world. And really, what it's doing is they're so clever about it in a lot of ways because it almost looks like they're trying to be watchdogs and trying to protect you, but really what they're doing is they're suppressing free speech.
Yeah,
and
totally.
they're killing fucking political satire.
And I don't know what's happening. I'm kind of annoyed at Elon Musk right now because there was that whole meme of him buying Twitter and stuff, and like at one point everyone thought he did, and then like he didn't fully, and then everyone thought he was gonna do it again. And then I don't know what's happening because there's that whole Jordan Peterson thing where he like misgendered Ellen Page, and he got banned from Twitter. And then
Jordan did?
Yeah, Jordan Peterson got banned from Twitter for
I don't know if Elon's going to own it or go through with it because he said that I don't know the behind the scenes stuff, but I heard there was a part of it that was like there were too many bots on there, and he's like, this isn't worth my time.
Well, can he fix that if he owns it? You know, like I don't get it. But and then Rubin Report guy Dave Rubin came out and said like this is insane that Jordan is getting banned for this, and then Dave Rubin got banned for saying that.
Wow.
And then Elon made a comment like, yeah, this is not good, this is getting out of control, but like he's still not doing anything.
Does Elon own it though now?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like he does because he just made a comment like that's too bad.
Maybe he walked away from the
deal. Maybe he did, which sucks. He should. Wow. He was saying it was so big. He said it was like the marketplace of the world, or no, not the marketplace, the town square of the world, and all this stuff. He thought it was like really, really important, and then he just nothing happened with it. And so it's too bad, because it's about time.
I was hoping he'd get it, but there's probably a lot more to that story.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, time for one more break, guys, and you can send some tweets our direction.
The power charger will blast you high. Volcano blowout. Blasting cars that glow in the dark. Volcano blowout. Cars racing through, coming down fast. Can you make it through before the blast? Volcano blast. It's a mid-air crash. Volcano blowout. Volcano blowout set comes with 2 glow-in-the-dark cars. Batteries not included. Adult assembly required.
They'll never recognize me now. I'm incognito. Well, it looks safe. It's great.
When you're good, there's no sense trying to disguise it.
Bullseye.
Crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. Eggo Homestyle Waffles, the part of this nutritious breakfast you just can't let go.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that brief commercial break.
Very nice.
We come back to you with this Business Insider post on Instagram you had sent me.
Yeah.
With this Barbie doll looking girl that says, I'm a car girl from LA. Golf course. I've made
Las Vegas.
Well, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. Las Vegas. LV. I've made 1,000 in tips in a day, but customers can be weird. No, they can't. You can be weird. About a year into working as a cart girl, I started putting videos on TikTok. I've grown to 1.8 million followers.
That's it?
Jesus. And now I get a lot of offers to work with brands. I don't do too many because I want my videos to be more about me on the cart. Okay, cool. On a typical day, I usually wake up... Tell me, what do you do on a typical day, John?
Wake up, have a nice spread of steak and eggs.
Eat steak and eggs?
I know any man in his right mind who doesn't like it.
On a typical day, I usually wake up at 5:30 a.m. If we have early tournaments, I have to be up by 4:30 a.m. Wow, that's pretty normal. Actually.
She's like a real person.
Yeah,
it's
Jesus
crazy.
Christ. I usually start the morning by chugging an energy drink. Jesus, I get to the course around 7 a.m. and I have to get the whole cart ready. Oh no, the whole cart! What the fuck? At the end of the day, I take all the snacks and shots out of the cart and wash it down. Why is this interesting? I get to keep the profits after the drink sales. That's the tips that I go home with. Okay, cool. The tips are pretty great. I usually make between $400 and $500 a day on top of my salary. That's fucking great. Easy gig. When I first started working at the course, I was paid minimum wage, which was around $9 an hour in Nevada. Once I started using TikTok, other courses reached out to me with opportunities. The owner of the golf course that I work at actually asked me if I wanted to be on a contract, so I signed on and now earn a salary.
Because she's hot.
Yep. I do try out different outfits to see what gets the most tips, of course. A skirt and polo look is the winner, though. I think some golfers are a bit weird and see a schoolgirl thing. That's not weird. That's like a really normal trope. Jesus fucking Christ. But that's also different, and it plays into the golfing character.
Here we go. Here we go.
Like they're so.
Here we go.
Okay. I love my job, but obviously there's some downsides. One time a guy asked for a picture to impress the guys back home. We were standing sideways and he put his hand on my ass for the picture. I yelled at him and told him not to show them that one. To be honest, I get over stuff like that pretty quickly. It's annoying and weird, but nothing too crazy. Why the okay.
That's a Business Insider article.
I just need a moment to like take that in. You know?
I thought you'd enjoy it. I thought you'd enjoy it.
Yeah. So
take your time.
Well,
take your Christian Bale 10 seconds.
My main issue that all these women have the same thing where they can attribute 100% of their success to their sex appeal.
Totally.
And then whenever any of that appeal comes to like the foreground, they think it's weird.
Yeah.
And so first of all, what the fuck?
Guys, they're kind of creepy.
Yeah, Jesus. You know,
I'm like, you're there to serve drinks and look hot.
Yeah,
Like, that's your job. Like, and you've got a bunch of like drunk dudes golfing who are like, obviously that's going to happen once in a while. Not saying that it's warranted, but it's par for the course.
There you go.
Not saying it should be, but it is.
Yeah, it's this is another thing. We were talking last time about how, you know, people think like negative emotions are like unattractive, and I get that, but a lot of the times they're warranted. And I have gotten very annoyed lately about, I'm going to get shit for this, but it's, if you're like a cute girl, it's easy to get money, and it's easy to get yourself out there.
For sure.
I've known a lot of women who've gone the route of like OnlyFans and streaming and all that shit, and immediately just, they get so much money. They get it's insane.
We live in a simp culture.
Yeah. And I know there's so much, like, you know, a couple years ago it was all about like you know, women get less than men with the same job, blah blah blah. But
that was disproven.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
First of all, you know, there was the whole thing with the sports. There was like the WNBA versus the NBA. That's all just that's how it works, guys. It's supply and demand. And I know none of these. None of these. That guy in the. First of all, we should shout out Ben's incredible homeless video.
Oh, thank
the video
you.
of the homeless.
Thank you.
So well done.
Thank you.
I even, you know, filmed a couple of those segments, but when it came all together, that was insane.
It was great.
The whole area with the tents, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, thank you for your help too. We did today where Emmett and I cruised around.
Yeah.
And a lot of the daytime stuff I got with Emmett.
Yeah.
And it was it was intense.
Yeah.
Literally.
And the interview with what was his name? Do you remember his name?
Steve.
The interview with Steve, like, he was making the point that everyone makes, how, you know, athletes should not be making as much as they do. And like, I think everyone agrees. They're just these bozos who kind of run around, and they're making like more than anyone will ever make, and it's unfair. But it's just the way supply and demand works, and I think that is to account for most of these disparities in pay, rather than just like, I don't like woman, you know. That's so stupid.
Yeah. And also, like, if you watch, there's only one person I know who like actively goes to WNBA games.
Yeah.
And it's very rare.
Yeah.
It's a rarity, and I've never been to one.
Yeah.
But if you watch the videos of them, it's always really tight on the court. They zoom in really close because there's like hardly anybody in the crowd usually.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not saying that I agree with it, but just
and some of the actors, like, there was a bunch of like anger over how Robert Downey Jr. got however much more money for every Avengers than like Scarlett Johansson, even though she's. But you know, if you look at who's. If you go to see a Marvel movie, are you going to go for Iron Man more than Black Widow?
Yeah.
Like, everyone thinks Iron Man.
And also a part that they leave out is Robert Downey Jr. made more money than everybody. Including Hawkeye, including Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
And also Scarlett Johansson is the highest paid actress in the world.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So I think she'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's not like we're trying to keep women down.
No.
And, oh man. And again, it comes back to that discussion where I'm angry at men for doing this. It's not good. I don't think this is good for their psyche.
Fuck the patriarchy.
Yeah, and when they look back at just like having an OnlyFans and not doing really anything with their life other than that, are they going to be satisfied? Are they going to be happy?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't know. You know, it's
there's a lot of hollowness to it.
It's too bad.
It's a weird thing. It's a thing that like you like, and then it's a thing that you don't like.
Yeah.
It's a weird. There's a weird dichotomy with it.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's weird.
It's really bad. So
it kind of comes out of desperation in a lot of ways, and it's weird. It's weird that it's been normalized in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying that it's all bad. Like, there's hotties out there for sure, but there's a weirdness associated with it, and I don't know, man. It does seem like a weird path, you know. There's a lack of fulfillment for sure.
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those people are really depressed.
Yeah.
and it's normalized, but it's also still not, because there's still women saying like any sexual advancement is weird. You know, it's like they're literally like putting a video of themselves getting fucked with a dildo, and then a guy's like, I think you're hot, and they're like, what? Red flag.
Or like that bitch from the gym, that video that we did in the last video, where she's like literally putting a phone up to like show off her ass and like doing squats on the rack or whatever, and it's gonna be seen by like 1 million some odd people, right? And like a lot of guys that are probably gonna beat off to her, let's be honest. And then, you know, like one dude like sort of looks at her and she tries to blow up into this thing about exposing a creep.
God, yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
all those, just earlier we were looking at some, like inspirational Instagram video or something of there's always, like, girls, like, out on a boat or some shit, and they have the inspirational quote, and then the whole frame is centered around their ass.
Yep.
And they're always turned away from the camera. It's their ass.
Yep.
I went on TikTok the other day. I barely ever browse TikTok, but I was browsing it, and I saw one of those things.
Yeah.
And I just, in the comments, I just typed ass.
Yeah.
And then I got a bunch of upvotes.
Yeah.
But like that's all it is.
That's all it is.
So, but there's still this weird discord in their minds where it's like you know exactly what they're doing. I'm gonna put my ass there. Everyone's gonna like it, but they pretend like it's not there at all.
Exactly.
They pretend it's just about the quote, and if you say anything about their ass, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So like, what are you doing?
It's like I don't know. It's like putting an apple in a picture and like not talking about fruit.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's very Jesus Christ.
I hide an apple in every picture.
Yeah, so
that's
I
the comment that
I don't feel bad for women at all in any way. It's easy for you out there these days, and I am ashamed of all these men who are just throwing away their money for it. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I wish there was more of a pushback against that. I wish there was like an anti-simp movement.
Yeah,
you know, because it's like the guys they're doing more than empowering these women. They're like lifting up on this crazy pedestal, and they're throwing massive amounts of cash at them. There's a difference between empowering women and lifting them to that crazy level.
Yeah, they're paying their bills for them.
Yeah,
they're supporting them like literally just for God. And
it's just weird.
Yeah,
it's
not. And it's like it's obviously it's okay to do that if that's what you want to do, but it's not good for the men. Mm-hmm. It's making you very lonely and sexually frustrated, and it's not good for the women because they're sitting there being very unfulfilled, and they're only what's the word I'm looking for? The only thing they have to give the world is their sexual appeal, and that's not empowering for women at all. That's the opposite of what they should be trying to do.
Yeah,
but they're just like they're diving into it head first,
and I find it so weird that our society can't like. This is so hard to like explain. It's like our society can't show it for what it is. They have to constantly be shaming guys for like having sexual urges. They have to constantly be shaming dudes. When you look at how our society is going right now, it's like totally backwards. Yeah. And it's just weird that they can't be honest about it. If they were honest about it, I'd be okay with it. But they're not.
Right, yeah, no one is.
They're trying to act like so puritanical and trying to act like, you know, we're like some perfect little society from the 50s, and anyone acting out or saying anything sexual or expressing anything sexual is bad. Yeah. But then you look at...
Yeah, there's this huge market happening right here in front of everyone. It's like it's in broad daylight, but it's like hidden in
it's so strange.
Sight.
Anyway, it's just weird. And if... I don't even know what to say, but I mean, it's just fucking bizarre.
It's really sad. So the only thing we can say is what we've been saying, where I think, like, guys, you gotta stop doing this. You gotta stop supporting this shit.
Quit simping.
And I get it. Like, you get really horny, you just gotta do it.
Here's my thing. There's a lot of free porn out there.
There's a lot, yeah, exactly.
You don't need to be simping.
Yeah.
You don't need to be simping.
Yeah, so... I don't know. Hopefully one day the market will blow over. I don't know.
I don't think it will.
Not for a while.
Give it time. Everything comes in waves. Everything comes in waves.
Until we get the hologram bitches like in Blade Runner.
Yeah, that'll be sick.
That'll be good.
You know what'll be nice? Androids.
Sexy
androids. I still got to see Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. Yeah, I keep forgetting you haven't seen that.
Caramel Macchiato.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm always afraid you're going to touch the android and you're going to feel like the metal and the gears.
Yeah, they got to really work that out. Give them time.
I'm really worried about that.
I want it to be like Westworld.
Yeah, should be like Westworld.
Yeah. Well, I don't want it to malfunction. Then she's like the android like chokes you to death.
Yeah,
you know?
that'd be a little scary.
That'd be hardcore. Hey, fun fact. Speaking of robots, I heard they're coming out with a Robocop video game.
Oh shit!
And it looks sick, coming out next year.
He looks great in Mortal Kombat 11. There's like cool. They have this whole DLC where it's like, you know, a bunch of those guys. They have Rambo, they have Terminator, and they have Robocop.
And they have Predator and Alien, right?
Yeah, in 10 I think they have Predator and Alien, and the newer one, and they have Joker too. And
that's sick.
Looks great.
So, and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. And Injustice.
But anyway, if they do it right, I would love a Robocop game. I was kind of disappointed by the Terminator game. I got the Terminator game. It looks nice, but like it's not quite there, and it's not the story that we want. on.
Yeah.
It takes place all in the future.
A lot of video games these days, they look amazing, but when you get down to it, it's just like a cell phone game.
Yeah.
Like that Avengers game, it was really fun for like a bit, and then it just turned into this thing where you gotta get like, you know, cell phone games are always like, you gotta click a button and you get like the new, you get higher up, and then you gotta keep clicking the button, and then you get another level.
I hate those games that look all amazing, and then you get it, and it's just like dropping houses and building towns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
it's
fucking
just
hate
like
those
that. Yeah,
games.
the Marvel game, the Avengers Marvel game turned into that, where it was just like there's like 5 missions, and you just gotta do them over and over again to like get better upgrades and shit. Like it was this mindless.
The best
like,
part was
cell phone
picking the Iron Man
click, click,
suits.
click. Exactly. Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Spider-Man game, that's supposed to be amazing. Right?
Spider-Man's fun.
Yeah,
Spider-Man's
that's really good.
I haven't played the Miles Morales
Yeah.
one yet, but I heard it's good. But the last one was pretty cool. It does get a little repetitive, but it's still a really well done game.
And I like the Guardians of the Galaxy game. That one was so good.
Yeah, Spidey was well done though.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Spidey game. Very cool, open world.
Yeah.
Pretty enjoyable. Pretty cool villains too. But yeah. Looking forward to RoboCop.
Beautiful. Hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, I want to subscribe to RoboCop's OnlyFans. Yeah, you can watch him put a USB in and out of his ass.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. You want to jump to the email?
Yeah.
We just have a couple things on here.
Kick us off, man.
Hilarious Japanese band sounds like Muppets.
So these guys, like, God bless them. They're just a real. I think they have like a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube. They
Did you just find these guys earnestly? Or?
Yeah, I literally just said I've got a feeling cover, and I listened to it, and it's just like they're really trying, but it just sounds hilarious.
Oh no!
It just sounds funny.
I can't wait.
Yeah, crank it up. Try not to laugh. And it's like a real band.
I got a feeling deep inside, oh yeah. I got a feeling I got high, oh no.
Sounds like a drunk guy at karaoke. What the It's like the Muppets.
Oh, please believe me, I hate to miss a train, oh yeah.
Performed by Kushida.
And if you leave me, I won't be late again, oh no.
That's my favorite part.
Bro, Scooby-Doo. I can't do it anymore.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Holy shit! They sound exactly like
They sound like
Kermit.
the Muppets. It made me laugh.
Like Kermit finally his balls dropped, and there it is.
Is that like Kermit and was it Animal that lives in the trash can?
God damn it! I'm sorry.
I wish them luck.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do good.
Yeah, they'd be better suited for like punk.
Yeah, he's got to fix his voice. I don't know if he's trying to sound American or something.
I don't know.
Or no, just like a English or whatever. But god damn,
That was funny.
what's this one? The tip hashtag spider sense.
Oh, this is interesting. Let me read this one.
Okay.
So this is kind of cool. So a tip from a hero citizen thwarted a mass shooting, buzzword, shadow banned, planned for a July 4th celebration in Richmond, Virginia, police say. So this is actually a good thing. According to CNN, our 5th source of news, one phone call saved countless lives and prevented a potential mass shooting. During July 4th celebrations in Richmond, Virginia, the police chief and mayor said Wednesday. The hero tipster, I imagine Kramer overhearing it,
Yeah.
overheard a conversation that a mass shooting was being planned for the celebration at the Dogwood Dell Amphitheater and called that information into police on July 1st, said Richmond Police Chief Gerald Smith during a news conference. The amphitheater seats 2,400 people, according to the city's website. The same day as the tip, police went to a residence at the 1000 block of Columbia Avenue, where they found the weapons and ammunition. In
Dang.
total, police found 2 assault rifles, 1 handgun, and 223 rounds of ammunition at the home, Smith said. One man was arrested Friday, and police put surveillance on a second person who was arrested Tuesday, the chief said. both suspects, listen to this, have been charged with being non-citizens in possession of a firearm.
Oh shit.
So yeah, let's leave that border wide open, guys. Yeah. Here's my thing with the border. It's not a whole bunch of nice Mexican families coming across like the media wants to paint it. I have no problem with nice Mexican families wanting to come better their lives. And that's not my issue. My issue is having the border wide open to the entire fucking world while COVID is still a big thing and while things like this are happening every other day. That's what I have a problem with. That's what I have a problem with.
Yeah.
It's about having a wide open door to the rest of the world that not just good people are aware of, but a whole hell of a lot of bad people are aware of.
I think with the mass shooting thing, we're gonna get shadow banned for just saying mass shooting. I think, but, I think you're right. There's a lot of it that is,
and we do not condone shootings.
Yeah, when it is a foreigner, they don't mention that. They try to kind of keep that on. And when it is, we never ask like why. I really do think. What is being fed to us, the lifestyle we're supposed to have these days, between like, think of like a guy who, you know, just subscribes to a bunch of OnlyFans, he has like a shitty job, and then, you know, he watches a bunch of Marvel movies. That's the most unfulfilled guy I can think of. That's the most unfulfilled type of human being I can think of. Yeah. And that's why, you know, I try to let people just, there's that whole thing, especially on Twitter, is just like, let people enjoy things, but that's actually damaging, I think. Mm-hmm. We can't just let people enjoy things. If you really just, like, if you're just eating up all the Disney Plus shows, and you're jerking off on your computer,
you gotta be able to think freely.
You're not, those are the types of guys that I think are that feel cornered and are going to do something bad. And I'm glad there are a couple...
I'm glad we have good people out there.
Yeah, I'm glad there are outlets and corners for those guys. I think, you know, Jordan Peterson, again, gets mocked a lot. I think he's just on my mind because of the whole him getting banned on Twitter thing. And I'm going to be honest, I tried to read his 12 Books for Life, or 12 Books for Life. God, I hope not. 12 Rules for Life is one book.
12 Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. Was that a show? Or 10 Rules?
I tried reading that. I got like a chapter and a half into it. And part of it just bored me, and part of it I just kind of disagreed with, and I stopped reading it. But some people swear by that, and I will say, like, this sounds kind of dark, but I think he's stopping a lot of the mass shooter types from shooting.
Really?
Because he's focusing on, like, men, you know? He's always like, young men need to hear this. Yeah. And that is a demographic that is not looked after anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's they're always the bad guy, right?
Of course. You're hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah. So thank you. And so it's good that there's guys like him, whether or not you agree with him. It's good that there's guys like him that are giving those people sort of a home and you know, place to feel comforted and like they're okay. And like
I think it's also really good for people to have Uncle Joe Rogan.
Yeah, too. Yeah. I think those guys are really empowering people that really need help right now.
And a big part that I'm going to piggyback off of that you've mentioned, and you totally hit the nail on the head, dude, is the mass shooting thing. You know, they always, not in this case, I guess, I don't know what these guys look like, but a lot of times they always go to, evil young white man. They would say evil young white man because that's predominantly who does a lot of the shootings, right? For these mass shootings, they say. And, you look at the statistics and I'm like, okay, cool, like that's horrific, that's awful, I don't agree with that, those guys are pieces of shit. But maybe, did you ever think of this, that these guys, and I'm not supporting them in any way, but did you ever think that calling them villains and saying that they're overprivileged pieces of shit from the time they're like 6 all the way up through the school system might have kind of fucked with them a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And kind of saying like, no, you're privileged, you're the bad guy historically, you're the problem. Yeah. It's like that
you're weird if you express any sexual interest or anything.
I don't think that's healthy for these guys. And like I said, I'm not standing up for them. I'm not defending any shit that they've done.
Yeah, it doesn't make it okay.
At all. I'm not saying that it's okay.
But you have to look at like why this is happening.
You got to kind of look at that and be like, hey, maybe take a different approach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
what's going on now definitely is not improving things.
Yeah. So it's tough, and just this last 4th of July, there was Crimo or whatever who committed a terrible crimo. That guy who did that shooting on July 4th.
Yeah.
That
was shitty.
Yeah, and he just looked like a fucking bizarre guy.
Looked like a weird cartoon character.
The other thing it's really sad to me about all these shootings is that no one is like, this is no one mourns. They're always immediately like, well, was he a Republican or a Democrat? That's the first question they always ask. That's the first thing they always try to figure out, and that's the one thing that they're like, they try to like get you on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this shooter was a Republican. Like, what's even the point?
Yeah.
This one guy was a Republican, so all Republican bad. You always try to make it this political thing, like, oh, if we dissolve the Republican Party, there wouldn't be any shooters anymore.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest, most like lowbrow, shitty argument. Can we just, for a minute, try to be real and just understand that like real people were killed and not make it another political argument?
And since we're already apparently demonetized and shadow banned, and we're a little too extreme for the masses, I'm just going to go balls to the wall on this one and say, since they're really trying really, really hard to push through all this anti-gun legislation, don't you think it's kind of convenient that every fucking week here now we're having mass shootings?
Yeah, you're right. In that article, it said in the last 189 days there were 300 mass shootings or something. It doesn't make... Something is pushing this. There's a reason this is all happening, and it's not just the fact that you can buy a gun.
When we were kids, tons of gun access, right?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people had guns, right? I don't remember hearing, when I was 10 years old about constant mass shooting.
No.
You had Columbine, you had the occasional odd school shooting, but really the social media era is when that really took off.
Yeah.
I would say when did we start having shootings constantly? I would say post 2012.
Yeah, that's when I started.
That's when we started having. We had them. Obviously, there was Columbine. I can't think of any others. There was
But Columbine was the one.
Yeah. And then there was the Dark Knight shooting in Aurora, and things like that. And
that's what kind of kicked them off.
Yeah, that was the big one. And it's so you had those, but before that, now it's every fucking week.
Yeah.
Every fucking week you hear it, and it's what's going on?
And it's not when people blame it on the guns. It's everyone's this retard who just sees a gun and starts shooting. They pick it up on this. That's not the issue. It's the culture. It's the society. It's something that is pushing these people to do these things.
I mean, it's the people are fucked up. The people are fucked up. The people are mentally ill.
Yeah.
And it's there's more to it. We're just barely touching on the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any thoughts as to why this is happening, please comment below. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
it's twisted, man.
Yeah. But we are in a really, really difficult, discordant culture right now.
And what's kind of
doesn't make any sense.
What's kind of interesting about it is everyone pushes for gun control, right? And I get it to a point where they're coming from. You want this white picket fence world, where things are safer, and they want to ban automatic weapons, and I get where they're coming from. But at the end of the day, like I've said, there's too many guns out there already. There's too many guns out in circulation, and if all the good people turn in their weapons, you think the bad guys are going to come in and turn their weapons in?
I know. Yeah.
I went to a work event, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I went to a work event at the beginning of the year, and we were out at this trade show out in what town?
Oh yeah,
can't even remember the name of the town. This little one-horse town.
Bush.
It was near Blythe.
Blythe.
It was near Blythe. Yeah.
There you go.
And Quartzsite. We went to Quartzsite. And I was there, and a few of the guys I was with working, they were like, wow, I feel so safe here. Like it's weird. I said, they were looking around, and everyone there was an old person who was camping, or an old biker, and everyone was strapped.
Yeah.
Everyone had pistols. And one of the guys I was with, he's like, man, if someone started shooting, he's like, they'd be done in 3 seconds because someone would shoot them.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it was a weird sense of safety.
Yeah.
Knowing that majority of the people there were strapped and I had a pistol on them or something. Yeah. It seemed a lot less likely that someone was going to shoot the place up because immediately some old guy would blow their head off.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this weird checks and balance system where if everyone's armed, they're going to self-regulate.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an interesting thing that is really never brought to the table. They're well, more guns, more problems, but kind of at the same time, if there's more guns, if someone started shooting at a shooting range, that person's going to be taken down in a few seconds.
Yeah.
But if someone's in a group of people who are unarmed shooting, then it's fish in a barrel.
Exactly. Yeah.
So kind of think about that. And I'm not saying that, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People can self-regulate, and taking away all the guns is really, I don't think the answer.
It's, people want humanity to be innately innocent, but we're just not.
Yeah.
And it's again that Cormac McCarthy quote where he says there's always going to be bloodshed, you got to deal with that, and if you pretend like there won't be, then you're going to be sad. And
Cormac McCarthy's amazing. Is he still alive?
That's amazing. I think he's about to die, but he's still alive.
I hope he stays around for a while.
You gotta do that, because people think if we take all the guns away, everyone's going to be happy-go-lucky, having a good time. People think that I never agreed with this is also a slippery slope to go down, but people always say racism is taught by someone else, but No, like, I mean, it wasn't. Where did it spawn from? You know, and it's because it comes from racism is not this its own little specific thing. It comes from the fact that we want to look at someone and judge them, and obviously that's not the right thing to do. But it comes from the same thing. When you're in traffic and you get pissed off, like someone cuts you off, and then you make fun of their car. Like the maker of their car had nothing to do with the guy in there that cut you off. You're just pissed off. It's the same thing with racism. You look at them, you look at what you can judge.
It's like tribal differences.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's crazy too is you even think about it from a level of people who are of the same race.
Yeah.
Think of just as an example, think of a school that's predominantly white, right? And then you get some redheaded ginger kid who's being just bullied really hardcore.
Exactly. Yeah.
People will latch onto any difference.
Yeah,
and they'll dish shit out because it's human nature to be shitty.
Yeah, it comes from the same place where liberals will be like, everyone's created equally. We shouldn't fat shame. We shouldn't blah blah blah. And then immediately in the same breath, we're like, oh, funny Trump small penis. And then recently with Jordan Peterson, they'll be like, haha, he sounds like Kermit. Blah blah blah. It's everyone does that, just in different ways. Everyone. It
just depends on the arena where it's allowed,
exactly,
and how hard they can go. But if you're different than me politically, then everything.
No holds barred.
There's no holds barred. There's no limits. And I think that's so crazy.
That is innate in humans.
It's human nature. Yeah. It's human nature.
It's the we can be nice, we can be shitty. There's different sides to every coin, and
but the whole white picket fence way of looking at things. Look at Chicago. Chicago has some of the strictest gun control legislation in the entire country.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so much gun violence in Chicago.
Absolutely.
It's off the charts, and it's usually gang on gang. And I don't know what the answer is, but what they're doing right now is not working.
No.
And it feels a little orchestrated.
It does, yeah.
It feels a little orchestrated. It's every fucking weekend, guys. Come on.
I know.
Come on. Anyway, open your eyes, don't be sheep.
Yeah. One more commercial break and some closing thoughts.
One more commercial break, and then we'll wrap up the pod.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and think for yourself.
Coming through! The sweet flavor of apple.
Here I come, I am cinnamon.
And cinnamon make a great taste that's always cinnamon. And Kellogg's Apple Jack cereal, a cinnalicious part of a nutritious breakfast.
You ever get tired of second place, old pal?
I let you win.
Whoa.
Apple Jacks.
Hello, delicious. Come on, talk to me. Say something. Cinnamon! Get
Will Cinnamon find Apple? You can find out only at applejacks.com. Ask parents' permission.
Welcome back. Please get out a pen and paper.
You have an extra pen?
Regular or gel ink?
Gel.
Comfort grip or standard?
Comfort. Psst. You have any paper?
Staples has everything you need for back to school.
Bobby? You have any chalk? Regular or dust free?
Want low prices? Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
Face it, you're either on one end of a Nerf weapon or the other. Time to choose. So, you better think about getting yourself a bow and arrow or a Nerf missile storm. Excuse me, don't you just love this? Or an arrow storm. Or a very good hiding place. Don't you get it? It's Nerf or nothing.
Alright guys, welcome back. So, really cool thing, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but I posted a video on I believe the 5th of July, from an event that happened on the 4th of July. Kind of a little recap. I was in my parents' backyard after barbecuing. We looked up, we saw an unidentified flying object. Swear to God, amazing. It was emerald green, it was zipping around, its movements didn't make any sense. And I was just talking to Emmett about it, and he informed me that someone caught video of it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest. When I first started watching the video, I was like, "Oh, that's gotta be one of those fireworks that has some of the fireworks were like." And then I kept watching it, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. It was really high up.
Yeah. And it's just odd that it happened on the 4th specifically. But then I saw a news article on some or not an article, a video on ABC or one of those big ones. Where someone did catch video of it, and it was exactly as you described.
Sweet.
I posted the link to the video in your video talking about it, so go check it out, guys.
Cool. I haven't watched it. This is all news to me.
Insane. Yeah, insane.
And I saw it, and I saw it for about 90 seconds.
It was exactly how you described.
Yeah, and it moved around like that, and I couldn't figure it out. My mom couldn't figure it out. My dad couldn't figure it out. And like I've said a million times, like I know what a jet looks like. I know what a drone looks like. Like our buddy Max, like he does FPV drones. Like I've seen drones at night. I know what these look like. And this was so high up. Yeah. It was so fast.
And there were no fireworks at the time. For some reason, my first thought was like maybe it's
they were low level fireworks, but this was like so high up.
Yeah,
dude.
And in this video, at least there was nothing around it. It was like on its own, just chilling.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it was up there too long to be a firework.
Yeah.
It was going for a while.
Its movement was like sentient. That's all I'll describe it.
Yes.
And that's what was terrifying about it.
I want to look at the video right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, check it out.
Keep talking, but I want to pull it up. Let's take a look.
I thought of that because the last thing in the email here says it looks like we were in Stranger Things, haunting green sky.
Yeah, kick us off on this one. Yeah. But yeah, crazy stuff, guys. And like I said, when I was watching it, after about a minute, like I started to get tears in my eyes because I was so stoked to see a UFO.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, I don't know what it is. I can't tell you if it's military. It's like the most advanced shit I've ever seen.
Right. Yeah.
But if it's not, I'm just so glad I got to see it because it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense.
It really didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Crazy shit. Weird day for it to happen as well. So let me just do the Sioux Falls thing real quick.
Please.
Haunting green sky appears over Sioux Falls after storm with winds up to 99 miles per hour sweeps through the city. A powered Derecho, I don't know how to say that. Derecho. I don't know. On Tuesday, hits.
I'm just looking at your link. I'm focused on UFOs.
Okay, take a look. Some kind of power storm on Tuesday hit several states in the Midwest, including South Dakota. Residents of Sioux Falls were shocked when haunting green-colored sky rolls into the area.
It looked wild.
This type of storm is an intense windstorm associated
speaking of which, Outer Range with Josh Brolin. Haven't watched it yet, but it looks incredible.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out.
I really
love
want to. Yeah, he's great.
The storm associated with fast-moving.
Oh, this is a good video someone got.
Yeah, it's a great video. Yeah, check out the video, guys.
Let's put this below in the pod so you guys can see. Holy crap! Yeah, from my perspective, it looked green. The light looked green. This looks a little more whitish, but it's hard to tell. But yeah, the movement, it's great. That's exactly what we saw.
Yeah. Well, Sioux Falls, there's a picture, I'll throw it in there. It just looks like a creepy green sky from a storm. Kind of cool. Storms do weird things all the time. But yeah, this video.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it, huh?
I'm sorry, I'm so excited, guys.
Yeah, it's okay, yeah. And it has a little like tail and it moves like a blur.
Yeah. Now this one, when I watched it, it went like all the way across the sky, like quite a few miles.
Yeah.
Fast as fuck. Like so fast. I don't know if this one will catch it.
Yeah, I remember you saying it hauled ass.
It hauled ass. I'm glad someone caught something.
Yeah.
Because like I was so frustrated I didn't get on video, but thank God there's something. There's some proof. And that was the only like tip of the iceberg on that one. Like literally imagine this thing just like zooming across the sky and then coming back and doing that blinking and kind of like leaving a trail of light behind it.
So weird, man.
Dude, it's so
weird,
cool. But yeah, what do you think about that
Sioux Falls?
Sioux Falls business?
Cool. I think storms, with the right combination, they can do a lot of bizarre things.
Totally.
And that's a specific type of storm that I guess, looks like that, but it's rare.
Mm-hmm.
And looks super spooky.
It looks spooky, yeah.
It's kind of like when we have boobs here and everything gets like orange and deep orange. Those are cool. Those are sick.
Yeah, I don't think that was anything like paranormal or mysterious or anything. I thought it just looked cool.
They did look cool.
That's the Unfazed Science Lab. Or meteorology. Love me some meteorology.
Makes me want our monsoon. We're purportedly
it's
going to have a great monsoon.
It's been very dry the past few years.
It's really nothing. So we'll see.
Yeah. It's been, it's been like kind of a scary drought, actually.
Yeah, it is scary.
Not enough water at all.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love when it rains. I don't love driving in it because people just immediately start crashing into each other.
Yep.
But I love when it rains. I love the smell of rain.
Great.
I love when you don't have to go anywhere
in the desert.
and you can just kick back. Like if it rained on like a Friday night, you don't have to go anywhere. That's like the best.
That is the best. Yeah.
You go out there, sit on the patio, the smell of it,
it's perfect. Yeah,
it's so great.
Yeah, the smell of rain in the desert is specifically wonderful because there's what is it? I forget which bush. There's some kind of desert bush.
The country.
The country's good. The one that smells like cum. But then there's a kind of bush that everyone knows the country, I think. But there's a kind of bush that, like, when it reacts to rain, or just when it's wet at all, it smells beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's the. Is it the cottonwood?
I don't know. I forget what it's called. I'll throw it in the comments if I can remember.
It's the cicada.
Yeah, but I remember we have one up front, and Max. When I was helping Max change his tire like a few months ago, and we had this was like a dumb Jimmy thing for me to do, but the bush was like right there next to his car, and it was hot out. And we had these big jugs of water, and I took a few sips, and I just dumped it on the bush because I wanted it to smell nice. And it did smell nice. Yeah.
That's great.
It's great. It's such a beautiful smell.
I wonder what kind of bush that is.
Yeah.
Let's put in the comments what kind of bush it was.
I don't know why bush is.
I like a good wet bush.
Yeah. I do like a good wet bush. Out here, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's so rare, too. I think that's why we gotta, savor it.
I love when you smell it, like the smell of rain and, like, a storm's coming in. Like, I would always get really excited as a kid.
Yeah.
Because, A, you knew you were getting rainy day schedule. Yeah. It's like if there was any rain at all, they were like, rainy day schedule. And you have to go inside because they're all terrified of it.
Yeah.
And then they didn't want people splashing around. And then other times it's like it's just such a novelty. Like I think just growing up in the desert, it's always like you're stoked for rain because it's like so rare.
Yeah.
Like you get rain like 5 times a year, and you're like, I'm so excited. I think I would really enjoy living in a place like Seattle or a place like that, like at least with that kind of climate.
Yeah.
For a little bit, I feel like a year of my life it would be cool to live somewhere rainy or like Maine or somewhere like that. Yeah. Just because I'd be like, I'm so not used to this. Like after a while, I'm sure like anywhere you get tired of the same weather, and you get depressed and all that. But like. Maybe for like 6 months it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think it would. And again, the rain is like specifically magical here, just because the way it interacts with the desert.
It's lovely.
It is lovely.
It's lovely. I want to put a green army guy in a boat and send him sailing down the street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would do that.
I used to putting leaves. Leaves race down.
Yeah, it was nice.
We can still do it.
We can still do that. Sounds like fun.
It's not too late. But yeah, this was a good pod. Any closing thoughts?
I think at the end of the day. Think for yourselves. Don't let the stupid fact-checking stuff get in the way because it's so demeaning and shitty, and it's false half the time.
It pretends like it's protecting you, but really it's doing the opposite.
Yeah, and try real hard to find a meaning in your life. Don't just watch Disney Plus and whack off to OnlyFans. I think that's the wrong way to go. And again, guys that are sort of supporting people like Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan and all those guys, whether or not you agree with them or even I don't watch Jordan ever really. But I think he's helping a demographic of people that need to be helped one way or the other, and I think that's good. And so just try to make sure you're waking up in the morning with something that you want to do that's good for you and good for the world.
Yeah.
And you can look back on and be happy that it happened. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
If you can look back on yourself and be proud of what you've accomplished, then you're in the right place.
Yeah.
I think people are too worried about either looking forward or just kind of wanting to feel
self-isolating.
Yeah, they want to feel some sort of surface level feel good in the moment, But that's not good. So find meaning. Think for yourself. Remain unfazed.
Remain unfazed. Yeah. I think the 3 I can give would be, I'm gonna totally copy yours. Find meaning. Let's say you work a really busy job and you feel like you have nothing going on in your life. Find something, like whether it's a hobby, whether it's something you're passionate about, drawing, music, writing, video making, a sport, whatever it is, do a little bit of that each week. If you can every day, great, but every week for sure. Do that so you don't lose your mind. Second thing, don't live in fear. We live in a time where everything's trying to keep you scared. You go on social media, you watch the news, you're constantly worried about getting shot or catching a disease or something horrible happening. At least I am. I watch that stuff, and you got to get to a point where finally you're like, stop being so scared.
Yeah.
Like, if it happens, it happens. Fuck it. Like, be careful, but at the same time, don't let it affect your freedom and your ability to live. Like, go live. Don't live in fear. And then third, I would say try to break a sweat every day. Whether whether that's beating off or whether that's lifting some weights, whatever it is, try to get some kind of exercise. Because I know for me personally, that really helps defeat the blues. That helps make me feel better. Gets rid of anxiety.
Yeah.
Breaking a sweat for like half an hour a day if you can. Take a walk, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever that means for you. Try to get in a little physical exercise for sure.
Agreed.
And thank you guys for watching.
Remain unfazed.
Remain unfazed.
Oh.